So a real split is now emerging with regard to Antifa on the left. There's some people in Antifa on the left who are willing to disown Antifa. It is amazing to me, by the way, that every Republican legislator in the country, every one of them, was forced to come out and personally denounce what happened in Charlottesville. But no Democrat legislator I'm aware of has been forced to denounce Antifa. No one seems to be asking these questions. I think Jake Tapper actually has asked some people on CNN. But aside from Tapper, I haven't seen anybody being asked this question regularly. Do you back Antifa? Should Antifa be shut down? Should it be considered a criminal group? Should the police be doing more to stop all of this? And the police in Berkeley did a really crappy job on Sunday. It was obvious they did a crappy job on Sunday. The Washington Post reported that they were supposed to block off entrances to the park where this rally, this free speech rally was taking place. Instead, they just allowed Antifa to run roughshod over them, and they said, well, we don't want this to become violent. Now, the mayor of Berkeley is calling on UC Berkeley to cancel Free Speech Week itself. So on Monday night, Berkeley Mayor Jesse Arreguin, this is Hank Berry writing for Daily Wire, Arreguin is a committed leftist, and he urged UC Berkeley to cancel the university's plans for a Free Speech Week in September that happens to coincide with speeches planned by speakers who target the left. Arreguin asserted, quote, I don't want Berkeley being used as a punching bag. I'm concerned about these groups using large protests to create mayhem. It's something we've seen in Oakland and Berkeley. Free Speech Week is not my speech. Free Speech Week is happening, I guess, about a week and a half afterward. That is going to include provocateurs like Milo. It's going to include Ann Coulter. Steve Bannon is supposed to show up for Free Speech Week as well, September 24th through 27th. I back the right of all of these people to speak no matter how much I disagree with their opinions on things, obviously. The Berkeley Patriots spokesman, Bryce Casimoto, acknowledged on Monday we're still working out the logistics of the event with the university and law enforcement. Once we have worked out final specifics, we'll be able to confirm speakers for Free Speech Week. I assume that Berkeley Mayor Arreguin does not want Berkeley to approve my speech happening September 14th at the university either. Berkeley, by the way, still has not released tickets. I mean, this is insane. It's now August 29th. This speech happens in just about 2 weeks. They still have not released the free tickets. There are 2,000 seats. I assume that it'll sell out almost immediately thanks to people like you. If you want to go and register for notification as soon as the tickets become available, we should pack the house and demonstrate that free speech still matters. You can go over to yaf.org for all of the information there. But the fact that the Berkeley mayor is saying openly that he doesn't want these free speech events in his city is really disgusting and demonstrative of the fact that there is a rioter's veto of which leftist government officials approve. And it's not just limited to Berkeley. You remember Stephanie Rawlings-Blake, the Baltimore mayor, saying when there were riots in Baltimore that she wanted to give the rioters space to destroy. You remember her saying that. The way that this works, this sort of inside-outside game, is that you have a bunch of rioters who show up to shut down speech you don't like, and then you say, oh, you know what, my police just couldn't control it. I guess that we just can't have these events anymore. That's the way this works. Go to hell, Jesse Arreguin. Okay, this is still America, and you don't get to deny the First Amendment in your city just because you're the mayor of this city. That's not the way that this works. As I've said, and will continue to say, no one should show up to my speech on September 14th looking for a fight. If you are, we fully expect the police to arrest you. If they don't, that's on Jesse Arreguin, and it's on the UC Berkeley administration, if the police don't do their jobs. I have personal security for me. I want all the people who are coming to hear me speak protected. I don't want any of those people assaulted. And if they are assaulted, if the police don't do their jobs, if they're told to stand down, as apparently they were on Sunday, by the Berkeley PD higher-ups, or by the mayor, or by the Berkeley administration, and then Congress should move fully and forthwith to withdraw funding from UC Berkeley as well as any federal funding connected to the city of Berkeley overall in accordance with law. And that's something that needs to happen as soon as possible. And the left should be calling out for this as loudly as I am. It shouldn't just be me saying this. It should be the left saying this as well. And first of all, they've already charged us a $15,000 fee for security. Young America's Foundation said that it would pay the fee. It's a tax on free speech. The Foundation for Individual Rights in Education regularly points out that, quote, any requirement that student organizations hosting controversial events pay for extra security is unconstitutional because it affixes a price tag to events on the basis of their expressive content. And as I've said, again, no one should show up ready for violence. This is the police's job. Arreguin has said, quote, I'm very concerned about Milo Yiannopoulos and Ann Coulter and some of these other right-wing speakers coming to the Berkeley campus because it's just a target for Black Bloc to come out and commit mayhem on the Berkeley campus and have that potentially spill out on the street. He said, I obviously believe in freedom of speech, but there's a fine line between freedom of speech and then posing a risk to public safety. No, there is no fine line. These are two completely separate issues. Free speech is my right. Protecting public safety is your job. End of story. And if you're not willing to do your job, then you should be kicked out of your office summarily, or you should lose federal dollars for not doing your job. By the way, where the hell is Jerry Brown? I live in this state. I pay taxes in this state. I pay probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes in this state. The idea that my government, the government under which I've lived my entire life, except for 3 years in Harvard, I've lived my entire life in California. The idea that government is not going to protect my free speech rights or the freedom of assembly of people to hear me, or people like Milo, or people like Ann Coulter, is really repulsive, really disgusting. And that obviously has nothing to do with my belief in their message, because I don't believe in the message of some of the people that I just mentioned. So again, Berkeley just doing a horrific job doing what it's supposed to be doing. So we'll keep you updated on all of that. Okay, meanwhile, President Trump landed in Texas, just demonstrating the ire of the left when it comes to the situation in Texas. People are apparently very, very upset with Melania Trump. She landed and she was wearing high heels. Apparently this is some sort of big deal. She was wearing stilettos, I guess, for 5 seconds, and then she changed her shoes. Okay, everyone was getting on her back for changing her shoes. Is this like a big deal? Like, am I supposed to think this is a big deal? My wife changes her shoes every time I go to synagogue. She wears the shoes that are comfortable to walk in, and then she changes into the shoes that are pretty. I mean, I think that women are silly for doing this, but still, is this a big deal? But the left has made this a huge big deal. How dare this happen? Trump is in Texas today. There are even some people at the Washington Post saying, how dare Trump land there? So let me get this straight. When George W. Bush did a flyover because he didn't actually want to land and create a security problem in New Orleans, then he was a bad guy. But when Trump flies to Texas, he's also a bad guy. Amazing how this works. So Trump, the truth is that Trump on Hurricane Harvey is actually doing quite a good job. I don't see any problem whatsoever with what Trump has been doing on the hurricane thus far. He's done everything that he's been asked to do. Now, does that mean that some of his other sillinesses have been obliterated? No, of course, Trump is still Trump. This is why his approval rating is down. It demonstrates that if Trump would just stick to the good stuff, he could actually be quite a popular president. Hurricanes like this boost the president's popularity. They always boost the popularity of the president of the United States. And hell, Barack Obama's popularity was boosted by Hurricane Sandy so much he probably won re-election. Donald Trump is doing a good job with the hurricane. I just wish he would get out of his own way. What do I mean when I say get out of his own way? Well, he was doing a joint press conference with the Finland's president yesterday, and he was asked about the pardon of Joe Arpaio, and here's what he had to say about it.
Well, a lot of people think it was the right thing to do, John. And actually, in the middle of a hurricane, even though it was a Friday evening, I assumed the ratings would be far higher than they would be normally. The hurricane was just starting. And I put it out that I had pardoned, as we say, Sheriff Joe.
Okay, so why are you saying that you were doing? Was he saying that he was doing it for the ratings? I assume what he was saying here is that he wasn't trying to bury this under the hurricane, the Arpaio pardon under the hurricane. But the way that it comes out, he's talking about using the hurricane as a way to get attention for his Arpaio pardon. Not very good wording by the president, but I'll take it that what he actually meant here is not that he wanted higher ratings for the Arpaio pardon, but that he actually was not doing it to hide the Arpaio pardon. CNN, of course, does it the exact wrong way. Dana Bash comes out and she says it's abhorrent. Clearly, he was doing it for the ratings. It's clip 7.
Even if he is tongue-in-cheek, which I don't think he was. The notion of the President of the United States saying that he announced something because ratings were high, where people were fleeing their homes, underwater, and some people losing their lives, is abhorrent.
Okay, again, this is overwrought stuff from the media, but Trump has to know that's the way this is going to go. He keeps making some boo-boos that are not really great. He came out the same day, and he was asked about Russia again. Once again, it's not difficult for him just to condemn Russia. There's this big story that came out from the New York Times. It doesn't really hold a lot of water, as far as I can see, but the story seems to suggest that there was a Trump associate who boasted to another Trump associate that Trump had a deal that was pending in Moscow, and because of that deal with Moscow, Vladimir Putin was going to lend his support to Trump for the presidency and get Trump elected. It could just be braggadocio by one of Trump's associates, but it would be good if Trump would condemn Russia every so often. He still seems to have a tough time doing it. Here was Trump being asked about Russia as a security threat.
Mr. Trump, would you consider Russia as a security threat? Thank you.
Well, I consider many countries as a security threat, unfortunately, when you look at what's going on in the world today. As you know, a few weeks ago, our great Vice President, Mike Pence, who's right here, was in the region and spent quite a bit of time there. We consider that a very, very important part of the world. We have great relationships there. We have a great relationship with Finland. And so I would consider many countries threats, but these are all threats that we'll be able to handle if we have to. Hopefully we won't have to handle them, but if we do, we will handle them.
Okay, again, I think that when President Trump says there are many threats, it'd be good if he would just say Russia is a threat. Obviously, Russia is a threat to Finland. Russia invaded Finland during World War II. So, him sort of shying away from that is not a good move. But I wish he would stop this so that we could focus on what he's doing on the hurricane, which so far has been pretty much misstep-free. I haven't seen a lot of boo-boos for President Trump during this hurricane, and it's driving the left up the wall.